Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di and today I am bringing you another Yarnie update. This is Yarnie update number 10 and I've done a bit of stitching since I've seen you last. I did intend for this to go up at the end of January. However, I usually upload my videos on the weekend and the end of this week is February. So you should be getting 2 videos from me in February, I hope. But yeah, I've done a few things and I thought I'd share them with you today. So let's get started. I guess I will mention first what I am wearing. This is my Granny Cocoon Shrug. I made it in 2017. It is crocheted. I actually made a couple of these. I made 2 as gifts for friends. And I really enjoy this shrug. It is nice and comfy. I made it out of I Love This Yarn by Hobby Lobby. And yeah, it's super comfy. I'll stand up so you can see it a little better. It's just nice and oversized, and because of the colors, I can pretty much wear it with a lot of things. I followed a video tutorial by Nadia over at Yarn Utopia to create this, but it is a free pattern by Maria Valles. I'll link my pattern page down below so that you can get all of the links to the relevant things, but this is definitely an item that I wear a lot. And yeah, so let's get into works in progress. So I've been seeing a lot of people doing these cozy memories blankets or granny stripe blankets and little things to kind of use up their scraps, and I've been wanting to make one for a while, but a lot of the granny stripe blankets or the cozy memory blankets use like sock yarns or little minis and things, and I don't knit socks fast enough to have enough of a stash in order to be able to do that. It would probably take me the whole year to knit a square that is about the size of a washcloth. I have made a few pairs of socks in the past, but I do make 2 pairs out of each skein of sock yarn. So I make a pair for my daughter and I make a pair for myself. And now that my mom's getting into liking hand knit socks, we're trying to figure out a way to make a pair for her as well. So that being said, I still don't knit fast enough in order to have enough to put into a blanket and have it be done in a relatively normal period of time. I don't want it to be a project that takes forever and ever and ever in order for me to have a usable item. So I was thinking about it for a while, and even though I knit a lot with wool now, I used to create projects a lot with acrylic. Acrylic was like my go-to fiber. And so I have quite a bit of it at home, and I still use it for various things, baby items, baby blankets, charity items, things like that. And so I thought, since I read a lot, and you may or may not know that I do have another channel, I'll link it down in the description box below, but that's where I talk about all of my reading, books, and manga. And so I thought it might be an interesting idea to start making one of these cozy memories blankets based on the books that I read in a year. Now, thinking about how many books I read in 2019, I read a total of 265 books. That includes novels and manga. Manga is a Japanese comic, for those of you who might not be aware. But in looking at those numbers, I think I'd have a relatively good sized blanket if I continue that pace for 2020. I'm not pushing myself to read that much, but I just thought that since I do read quite a bit. I should have a pretty normal size blanket by the end of the year. And if not, I could take some of the books that I read in 2021 and add them on until I had a usable size blanket. So that's what I did. So far this year, I have read 10 books, I think. I think I have 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11. So I've read 11 books. And so my idea is to knit in a square using a color off of the cover of each book that I've read. So this is what I have so far. Let me back up. So I'm kind of working it in a diagonal just because I thought it might be easier to work out from a corner instead of just having rows and rows, because as this grows, it will start being something that I would have to lay on my lap. And I know the hot weather is coming. I'm not looking forward to that. So, yeah, all of these squares encompass one color from the book cover of a book that I have already finished in 2020. You can see that I have not dealt with my yarn ends, but it is what it is. I will deal with it at some time. I'm probably just going to make sure they're fastened in and then snip and leave a little bit of a tail, because that's the back side. Is not going to be something that anybody sees. And so I'm just using a mitered square pattern. Here, I'll show you. And so I'm doing a decrease in the middle. I cast on 39 stitches, and I'm just doing a slip 1, knit 2, pass over, decrease. So yeah, I've had a little bit of problems in the beginning, just concentrating and making sure that I'm doing the decrease in the right place. Also, I realized that I had started doing the decreases a little too late. So my square at the end was kind of wonky. The last couple decreases were weird. I have straightened that out, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with this project. It gives me something nice and colorful to work on, and I'm pretty much working on a different color every time. I can already see that I've read quite a few blue books this year, and I do try to use a variety of colors just so that I don't have a lot of the same color next to each other, especially because I'm not choosing my books based off the colors. I'm just choosing what I want to read or what I'm going to read for a readathon or whatever. So yeah, this is my Cozy Memories Books That I Read blanket, and I'm very happy with it. It's all made out of Caron 1 Pound or Red Heart so far. That's a majority of the type of acrylic that I have at home, so I do anticipate using a lot of those two brands in this blanket. The next thing I have to show you is my Yuletide socks. This is a pattern by Kay Jones. This was the Advent present for their patrons. They did a make-along cal this year. And so yeah, every other day we got a section of the sock, and I finally finished one sock. I wasn't quite finished with the sock when I showed it to you the last time, but I finished it this one side yesterday. So like I said, I don't knit socks very fast. But so I will kind of Open it up for you to see all of the texture. There's some lace all the way down the foot. There's different things for each section. I pretty much stuck to pattern because my foot is about the same size as Kay's. The pattern was pretty much bang on to what I would normally use for length. The only thing that I did differently was I took out one of the rows right here after the last section because I was already over my foot stitch count. As you can see back here, I do keep track of the number of rows. I'm usually about 60 rows from heel to where I start the toe, and this is 64 stitches to the toe. So it is going to be a little bit roomier, but that is okay. I'm also anticipating that it's going to be a little bit roomier width-wise just because of the lace, but again, that is okay. I haven't actually tried it on yet. I'm a little bit scared because this is much longer than I'm used to for a sock. This is like a calf size calf, mid-calf. It might even go all the way up to my knee. It's pretty tall. I do have short legs. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's definitely going to be a unique sock in my collection. And I have not yet cast on the second one, but I need to do that soon because otherwise it's going to be second sock syndrome and I'll just have this one side. Love this color. This is Ice Yarn's solid sock in teal, and for the heels and toes I used Knit Picks stroll fingering in Wonderland Heather? Yes, Wonderland Heather. So yeah, very happy with that. The next item I have to show you is my Clipped Crows Fly Again sweater. This is my Haikyuu anime inspired sweater. And I say anime inspired because I'm going with what I've seen on the anime and not what I've seen on the covers of the manga pretty much. Except I did have a bit of a discussion with my daughter about a couple of the colors, and so some of them are slightly different, but that's okay. So the last time I showed you this project, I was here. So I had split for the sleeves, and I had split for the sleeves here, and was working the back and hadn't done the front part yet. As you can see, I have done the front part and I have completed a sleeve. So let me stand up. So this is what it looks like. Can't go back any further than that because otherwise my microphone will fall off and my camera will fall down. But yeah, this is what I've got so far. And again, this is the sleeve. So every 2 rows is one team. So these are all of the teams that Karasuno played in seasons 1, 2, and 3. And I didn't do every team, but I did the teams that I felt were like important or ones that I liked. And then I ended with a cuff that was gray because in the anime and season 3, there is a line that refers to 2 specific Karasuno players as being from the concrete. And so since they are working their way up to the top, I thought from the concrete, since I did use gray, and that was completely unintentional when I chose my body color, but I thought since it's from the concrete, I'd start with the gray as concrete and then have each team. So this is Karasuno right here, and this is the team that they played at the end of season 3. So I will go into more detail about the teams and such when I am finished with this project. But yeah, you can see all of my decreases here. I do mark those so that when I do the other side, I will be able to know how many in order to make them even. I did try this on before I did the ribbing over here at the cuff, and it fits well, which makes me happy. It is a little bit shorter than I usually wear a sweater, but I think with a little bit of blocking, I'll be able to stretch it out a little bit. But yeah, I'm really happy with this. The yarns are super squishy. The gray is Cascade Heritage in a like a gray color. I'm not sure what the color is actually called. I think it's gray. But and then I have a combination of Cascade Heritage, Knit Pick Stroll. I've got some West Yorkshire spinners in here. Ice Yarns, Solid Sock, Lolo Did It, Little Molos, Little Lolos, the Lolos. And I think those are all of the yarn brands that I have in here. But yeah, I'm going to have a lot of leftover yarn after this, but my daughter has requested a stripy sock, kind of like this. And then I'm sure you can see this section right here. These three with the microstripe are one team. It's a team that, since there was so much yellow, and I did try to make the yellows just slightly different, but I just thought I needed to make it just even slightly more different. So this particular team had 3 colors that I thought I could use, and so I did a little microstripe in the middle. And that's about where my elbow is, so it's kind of interesting where it ended up, but I'm very happy with this so far. I should have it done relatively soon. I'm not going to say that it will be done in February, though. I've been having like cast-on-itis. I've been wanting to cast on like everything, but I'm trying to make sure that I work on projects that I currently have going so that I don't have an abundance of things, works in progress. So yeah, that is all that I have as far as what I've worked on recently. And then next I will show you finished objects. So these you haven't seen because I just worked them up this past weekend. I made myself some leg warmers. I've had this Bernat blanket yarn for quite a while. 2 years, I think. I had made a few sets of the reusable water balloons that was really popular a couple years ago. And I just had all of this blanket yarn left, so I've been having a little bit of issue with my pajama pants, like ending up as like capri length while I'm sleeping. And so I thought I'd just make myself a pair of leg warmers to go over the bottoms of my pajama pants so that when I'm sleeping, they stay put and all that cold air doesn't get in around my legs. But yeah, nice and squishy. The Bernat blanket yarn is just so lovely. I didn't use a pattern for this. I used a size 15 needle to cast on. I cast on 20 stitches. I did a 3x2 rib, and yeah, I think there's 26 rows, and I haven't had a chance to try them out yet because it has been quite warm recently. It's actually going to get up into the 80s this week, which I'm not happy about. But I presume this will do the trick, and if I can't use this year, they will definitely come in handy when it gets cold again. So, nice happy colors, very happy with this, and I was able to use up some leftover yarn, so that's always great. My last finished item is a sweater, and you did see this on my last Yarnie update. It is the Chrysalis Pullover by Mary Ann Benedetto. This is in the Bernat Softy Chunky in Wine. And did I say what the Clip Crow's Flag End sweater was? I didn't. I'm a terrible podcaster. Clip Crow's Flag End is based off the Alicia sweater by Kim Barnett. So back to this one. This is the Chrysalis Pullover by Mary Ann Benedetto. It was in the Interweave Knits Winter 2019 issue, and I made this one for my daughter. I did the smallest size, and I finished it, guys. I cast this on Christmas Eve, and I finished it. So she's already worn it once, just so you know. And she says it was very warm. But here it is. Let me see. So as you can see, it's got this V-neck shaping in the front, the cables in the middle, and bobbles. So things that were new for me on this particular sweater were the tubular cast on. This is the first time I've done a tubular cast on. The instructions were very simple to understand on the pattern, so that was nice. I think I did a pretty good job, but let me just get a little bit closer. Yeah, so that was the first new thing, and this is done bottom up, so this was where I started. I had never done bobbles before, so that was interesting. They were also, again, very easy. The instructions on the pattern were very easy to understand. The cables I've done before, but let me see if I can get a little bit closer for you to see. And then the I-cord edging, so let me. There's also some bit of I-cord in the back of the neckline as well. I've done I-cords before, but I've never done I-cord edging. This particular pattern also was seamed. So I did the front and back portion separately, seamed them up, and then it says to pick up stitches for around the arm, but you pick them up all the way around, and then it tells you do not join. I was like, well, why? Why not? So I joined. I joined in the round, and it came out fine. I mean, I don't know why I would seam that when I wouldn't have to. So yeah. One thing that I would mention, in case you are thinking of making this sweater, is that up here in the front where the V is, you start working that section one side, and then you finish that one side, and then you join yarn and you work the other side. While you're doing that section, you're increasing and decreasing, and the instructions are not clear about where you should be on the increases and the decreases. So when I had worked the left side, I remembered where I was, as far as how many increases and decreases I still had left to do. When I went and worked the right side, I couldn't remember where I was. So that made it a little bit difficult. I would suggest, and I will be doing this when I make one for myself, because I am making one for myself. It looked so pretty on my daughter. I just was so envious. I am making one for myself, but not quite yet. Anyway, when I make one for myself, I will be doing both the front and both front panels, right and left, after I split for the neckline at the same time. So your yarn is connected to the left side. I will be joining one on the right side and working this way, and then working this side, come back and do this side. I think it's just going to make it a lot easier. I could see like where I was as far as the decreases and such go, but I kept having to refer back to what I had done on this side to duplicate it on the other side. Also, you are continuing with this cable pattern too, all the way up to the shoulder, and it's not clear like how many repeats of the cable you would have to do. So I actually had to refer to the stock picture quite a bit, just to make sure that I was in the right place. But yeah, other than that, I'm very happy with this item. My daughter is very happy with it as well. This yarn is nice and squishy. It is 100% acrylic. She is not bothered by it. I am not bothered by it. It did get a little bit scruffed up when she was wearing it, but you know, to me that's just a sign of love. You know, if I'm going to be putting in all of this work, I want to make sure that it gets used, and she's using it, so that makes me happy. So that is everything I've got for you today. I have put in a little bit of work here and there on a couple other items, but it's not enough to show you any kind of progress. So hopefully I'll have a little more of that to talk to you about next time. Anyway, thanks for spending a little bit of time with me today. I hope you're all doing great, and until next time, take care and smile always. Bye.